Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another, actually probably one of the first What's Spinning of the year, and probably my first one back, because I haven't done one for a long time actually. But this is all vinyl, and I've got some stacks of vinyl here, and before I put these away, these were definitely ones I was listening to for several months here, so before I put them away, I want to kind of just show them here. Again, just so I can be done with looking at this stack, so I can then file it away again. But again, all ones that I just felt like spinning for quite some time. So there are some classics here, like again, Restless and Wild from Accept. Classic. Another one here, The Rods in the Raw. Classic for me. Love this record. Another one, of course, here, Wrath, Fit of Anger. This, of course, is the Netherlands pressing on Megaton Records. Again, the original 1986 mix. Got a lot of glare and everything, but still, great record. Love this one. Also, I'm actually kind of forgetting here, going off track. What's playing in the background actually was something that Metal Theologian actually showed. Of course, is Avenger with Prayers of Steel, the band that would go on to call themselves Rage. Him showing that record just had me inspired to bust it out again. Killer album. This, of course, is the 2-disc CD reissue, with the second disc being a lot of the demos and everything, while the bonus tracks on disc 1 being the Depraved Black EP. Which is a little different sounding and more so closer to what they would do as Rage. It's very thrashy almost at times, but still good album. Alright, so back to what is in the pile here. Just a Deadringer Direct Line, which I had bought or got this year. Just a good new wave or British heavy metal album. Definitely more on like the hard rock sounding stuff, but still a good record. Again, original press. Got a lot of glare, and that's something I can't seem to do about. But still, good album. Of course, another one that I gotten this year as a VCLT from my friend Josh, of course, is Magnet. Killer Russian metal album. Killer stuff. Just real good. Again, that is just a really good Russian metal record. Again, relatively cheap one you can get. It's like you will have no problem getting this at any price. You have no problem. Cheapest I've seen is either $5. It's a real cheap record. Would have to probably put this in a future. I don't know. It was a video that Metal Theologian did, like just albums that you should know about. You know, obscure ones that are at least relatively cheap to get. That you have no problem finding. Definitely not at the price of $100 or $50. Still, good album. Busted out this classic, of course, the EP from Razor, Armed and Dangerous. Great EP from Razor, their first release. Again, most of the songs in this EP would end up getting re-recorded for their first full-length album, Executioner Song. You know, songs like The End, Hot Metal, Take This Torch, and Fast and Loud. But songs such as the song Killer Instinct, I don't think ever made it to that LP. Of course, Ball and Chain, And the song Armed and Dangerous never got re-recorded. But again, this is a fun EP. Love this one all the way through. Again, it's a reissue on War on Metal. War on Music, I mean. Released back in 2012. Still, real good EP. Definitely do not own an original. There's no way. That's why I opted to get the reissue back in 2013, I would say, because of how expensive the early pressings go for. But, again, great EP. Another classic here, Motorhead, Ace of Spades, Nuff Said. Also a reissue from my Earmark. Again, I bust even out my Raven LPs, like the Mad EP, just all killer stuff. Wiped Out, killer record, of course. All great. And, of course, their debut, Rockin' Till You Drop. I think all inspired, from Cloudy Mulder. I think had talked about Rockin' Till You Drop in one of his earlier videos. I don't know, I can't remember quite which one, but it just had me and I was in a new wave of British heavy metal mood, and this, when it came to vinyl, this was all I pretty much had when it came to this. Deadringer, and of course, High End Drive from Def Leppard. That's all. I'm trying to boost up that soon. But, again, good record. Even for comps, I also busted out the US Metal Volume 2 comp. Of course, Shrapnel. Just, again, I felt like replaying it. Just, good record. Sure, there's going to be some cheesy clunkers on this stuff from Shrapnel. But, again, just good stuff. I like that. Now it's time for some here in the pile, some leftovers I almost thought about talking about during my 70s Hard and Heavy month. Though not a 70s record, but definitely from an artist I did talk about. That, of course, is Robin Trower, BLT, which, of course, is the late Jack Bruce, Bill Lorden, and, of course, Robin Trower. Classic record, actually. I like this one. It's just a pretty good record. That's all I can say. I just love the playing and everything of his. Just a great record. More VCLT. This was one I had gotten from Scott Wars. Of course, Sweet Freedom from Uriah Heep. Great album. Love this one. It's a good record. Also, busted out a Deep Purple record, the Perfect Strangers album. Of course, I talked about Deep Purple as a part of 70s Hard and Heavy month. This was of course, their comeback album at the time, and it's a good record. Love it. The more and more I listen to this album, the more and more I just end up really loving the album. Just a really good record. Really nothing bad on the album. Nothing bad. Also, every time I'm always in a hard rock mood or whatever, I'm always going to have to bust out an AC/DC record, and I felt like busting out Let There Be Rock. Classic. It's a classic record. And also ended up being a Scorpions move, so I busted out like Blackout. And, of course, Animal Magnetism. Now, not saying a whole lot because of equally these are all good records. Okay, I don't know if I want to talk too much about this one. I almost thought about putting this in the 70s Hard and Heavy video. This, of course, is the first New York Dolls record. And I'd never given this record much listen, even though it's good. It is actually a pretty good album, especially for like when it comes to that early glam stuff. It's actually good, but it wasn't nearly as heavy as I would expect. For like, it's like I like some of the stuff. Again, it's got that sound that would really be pretty damn influential. Even like Twisted Sister, like I'll hear a lot of that in there. But again, it is a good record. I do like this one. So I have nothing bad to say. It's just an enjoyable record. Never dived much into the rest of the discography, but I think the rest of the discography just became more hit and miss. But still, a good record. Also, I even thought about maybe talking about this guy, since of course I started listening to these records right, his 1 year anniversary of him dying. That's of course the Jake Giles band, Bloodshot here. Again, good album, just childhood favorite when it comes to that. Really one of my early exposures when it came to early rock and roll and everything. Still, good record. Another childhood classic, definitely, as of course is the Full House Live record. And again, good album, classic for me, but definitely it's an album I don't always listen to very much because I'm usually not in the mood for this kind of, you know, early rock and roll sound kind of stuff. But still, it's a good record. Another one I almost thought about talking about, definitely once almost threw in my 70s hard and heavy beat, and that's of course Stillwater. Them being kind of a southern rock act on the same label that had Hydra. And it's kind of similar here and there. There are times, but again, it's not, I would say it's almost pushing towards the AOR side of southern rock. But again, it's not a bad album. I do like it, but it's not great. It's just kind of there, but it's decent enough to warrant at least a couple more listens. Next up here, of course, Rory Gallagher here with his 1982 album Jinx. Gave this one a listen. Still, it's a good album, but definitely I would not say it's his best work. It's got some good songs, but for me, I haven't really given much of his stuff other than maybe having a live album. I have no clue where the copy of Tattoo went. But still, just a good jammin' blues rock album. Good. Almost thought about putting this album here, Tommy Bolin with, of course, Private Eyes. Good album, but definitely doesn't nearly have that sort of 70s hard rock sound. But still, good album. But I think the James Gang album that I have, Bang, is actually at least a bit more better than this when it comes to his work. But this, of course, was his last thing before he passed away. But it's good. I like it. And speaking of early glam stuff that I almost thought about talking about besides New York Dolls, is Slade. And this is the only one that I have, and it is a good record. I do like this one, Slade Alive. But it definitely isn't nearly as heavy sounding as I would have thought in some places, but still, it's good. I like it. But still, good one. Of course, I do have to comment that I think Riot really based their version of Born to Be Wild off of Slade's version, to be quite honest, than whatever. But still, good track. Good out, just a decent one. Another comp also, when it came to also other new wave of British heavy metal stuff that I've got is the Still Crazy. Good album. Just real good stuff here. I can't say anything more. I once talked about before. I'm not going to talk about it again. Just felt like spinning it. Just move the stack forward. Almost done here. There's a few more here. Boss, with of course Step on it. Again, Australian band. Their only LP they ever released, even though they've got at least a 7-inch. They had different version of stuff that would end up on this record, but it's good. Definitely kind of cheesy due to the drum sound, which of course is not a actual drumming. It's like this was released right after Pyromania, so it's almost that electric drum, kind of computerized kind of drum sound. Musically, it's not like much like Pyromania. A little bit more harder rockin' in terms of the production and everything. But it does have a bit, because of it being Australian, it's got that bit of that Rose Tattoo, AC/DC kind of boogie thing going on here and there. but it's good. I like it though. Whenever I'm in the mood for that kind of stuff, it's usually the Australian stuff that I tend to go for if I'm really in that sort of boogie hard rock kind of feel. Stuff than that Rose Tattoo, AC/DC kind of stuff, but good record. Also ended up listening out, since I talked about Nazareth and my 70s Hard and Heavy, also decided to re-listen to this album here, Malice in Wonderland. Good record, definitely, from Nazareth. Probably definitely nowhere near as good as something like Hair of a Dog or Razzmanazz or No Mean City, but it's definitely a good album for sure. Do like it, but nowhere near as good as those. Blue Oyster Cult, of course. You know what? I've got two here. One being Secret Treaties, classic record. Love this one for sure. Just one of my favorite. And probably one record I should have talked about instead of the debut as far as 70s Hard and Heavy month. But it is a good album, and I think it is pretty damn good. And of course, Cultosaurus Erectus. Classic record from Blue Oyster Cult. Real good album. Now for the last one, it's more thrash oriented. That's of course is this Blood Cum, the part of the Wild Rags hardcore demo series. It's good. I do kind of dig this. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Of course, what made me to kind of want to bring this one out was because of Scott Watson got one of the Hardcore Demo Series records, but definitely not this one. But this is pretty good. I do like it. Sure, it's best known for having Tom Araya's brother, John Araya, but still, it's not amazing stuff at all. But me, I've got a soft spot for this kind of crossover, kind of hardcore thrash kind of stuff. But again, it's acquired taste, but for me, I do like this. But it is not recommended for those. If you don't like kind of your goofy kind of stuff, you probably definitely would not dig this. But for those that do kind of like some of that crossover hardcore punk thrash kind of stuff, you might definitely dig this. So for that, that's pretty much it. Pretty long video for sure, but good stuff all around. Definitely will be doing another video, maybe. I've got some plans for some other interesting videos for sure. So until then, this is Heavy Thrasher Sam out, and I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.